Hi everyone, welcome to my channel International Storyteller. In this channel you will find true horror stories worldwide. These stories are for entertainment purposes only. In this video, I will tell you the scary story of the Headhunter. The Headhunter is a terrifying true ghost story about a man who murders Native Americans and then collects their cut-off heads. In the early 1800s, there was a man named Bill Quick who made his living hunting and trapping animals. He lived with his father and his son, Tom, in an old cabin on the Scioto River, not far from the present town of Kenton, Ohio. At the time, there was a violent war being fought between the white people and the Native Americans, also known as American Indians. One day, Bill and his son went out hunting. When they returned in the evening, they were horrified to find that the cabin had been attacked by Indians. They had ransacked the place and robbed everything of value. Bill's father was lying dead on the floor in a pool of blood. Then, Bill became so angry that he swore that he would get revenge for his father's murder. From that moment on, he asked his son Tom to guard his house, and he alone launched a one-man war against the native Indian people. He stalked the woods and rivers, searching for Indians and killing anyone who came across him. Bill didn't care if those native Indians who were killed by him were guilty or innocent. He killed indiscriminately. He would hide in the trees, watching the Indians, and when they least suspected it, he would throw his knife and stab them in the heart. He would chase them on horseback and shoot them down where they stood. Sometimes he would follow the Native Americans to their village, and he would wait until they went to sleep, and then he would strike their skulls with an axe. He showed no mercy while killing the native Indian people. After he killed the Indians, he chopped off their heads and took them home with him. In his cabin, Bill put up shelves on the wall to display the cut-off heads of his victims. As the years passed by, he piled up a collection of 99 cut-off heads, and he displayed them all proudly, like trophies on his wall. He told himself he needed one more head to reach a total of 100 cut-off heads of Native Americans. And then Bill thought, just one more head, and then his vengeance for his dead father will be complete. However, the Indians were aware that a crazy white man was after them. They stayed on their guard at all times, even at night. At that time, the Native Americans eventually left their village and moved to faraway places. So, Bill never managed to get his 100th head. Suddenly, he was struck down by a fatal illness. As he lay on his deathbed, he called his son, Tom, to his side. Pointing to the rows of cut-off heads on the wall, he said, "It's up to you now, Tom. You must complete my mission. You must get me that 100th head of the Native American people. If you don't get me the last one head of the Native American people, I will come back from the dead to hunt you and kill you." Soon afterwards, Tom promised his father that he would do his best, and shortly afterwards, Bill died. Tom tried to make good on his gruesome promise, but he wasn't much of a hunter like his father. In fact, he didn't like violence at all, and he couldn't even shoot a gun straight. Anyway, by that time, all the American Indians had left the region for a far place that no white man could reach. Night after night, Tom stared at the cut-off heads hanging on the wall. He was very upset about not fulfilling his duty of filling the final space on the shelf with the head of a Native American. He felt very guilty about failing to keep the promise he made to his father about collecting the last one head of Native Indian people. One night, when Tom returned home, he started hearing voices and noticed something very strange inside his house. The cut-off heads on the wall started moving. Their eyes were open, and they suddenly began to scream and clack their teeth together. After seeing those scary things, Tom fled from the cabin. Tom told everyone in the town about his story and the scary things happening in his house, but nobody believed him. They all thought he was losing his mind. As his mind became more unstable, he grew more and more determined to carry out his promise to his father about collecting the last one head of Native Indian people. When he heard that a group of Indians had been seen near their town, Tom went back to his home to take his rifle and set out on his horrible mission to kill the Native Americans. Shortly afterwards, a neighbor heard a single shot, and it came from the direction of Tom's cabin. The neighbor rushed to see what had happened inside Tom's cabin. The man found the cabin very quiet and silent, and the door was closed. He knocked on the door and called out, but there was no answer. So he broke the door and went inside the cabin to take a look around. He stared in horror at all the cut-off heads that were lining on the wall. There was a total of 100 cut-off heads, and on the top shelf, there was the 100th head. It looked like a fresh cut-off head, and the face was full of blood. Then, as the man carefully checked the head, he saw that there was a bullet hole right through its forehead. The neighbor stared at the head. He recognized the face immediately. It was the head of Tom. But nobody knew exactly what had happened to Tom and who killed him. But the neighbor believes that it was done by the angry ghost of Tom's father, Bill. The ghost of Bill was so mad at his son, Tom, for not fulfilling his mission to get the last one head, or the 100th head of a Native American person. So the ghost of Bill haunted and killed his son, Tom, then chopped off his heads and displayed a collection of 100 heads on the wall. Bill completed his revenge for his father's murder by the native Indian people, and so his spirit was finally rest in peace.